How's it going, everyone? I feel like there's a lot of excitement around Echoes of Aincrad, Sword Art Online. However, the Sword Art Online aspect of the title has very much been downplayed because this is a game where they wanted to engage an audience that has never watched Sword Art Online. I have watched quite a bit of Sword Art Online. I am not caught up on it, but I think I am the type of person that they would definitely want to engage with because I've never had incredibly strong feelings towards SAO. I do have my opinions on the show and the anime. I think the premise of the anime is incredibly fascinating. I think it was incredibly compelling for the first 3 episodes, and generally myself and a lot of other people tend to agree that the premise of the first season and the first 3 episodes, super compelling, goes kind of off the rails, too much focus on Kirito and Asuna, and I feel like the overall idea of Aincrad as a world and this death game was never actually realized to its fullest potential. Enter Echoes of Aincrad because this video game looks like it really has the potential to do that much. Now, there is some questions, there are some concerns, and Famitsu did have an interview with producer Yosuke Futami. Now, the interview is obviously in Japanese. I plugged it into a translator, but it can only give you so much info and things will get lost in translation, so I'll try to assess some of the information. However, there has been one key aspect that I'm sure a lot of people will bring up, and ultimately, they will be disappointed by. So if you're not familiar with Aincrad and Sword Art Online's death game, Aincrad, the whole idea was you had to go up the 100 floors, that there were 100 floors that you would have to go up, and by the end, you would figure out the truth and the mystery of the death game, so on and so forth. And the idea was, okay, let's go through this 100 floors. I think when people started watching SAO initially, it was this, oh man, we're gonna see Kirito go through all of these 100 floors and things will unfold, and then, you know, ultimately they don't go through all 100 floors. And the reality is, in Echoes of Aincrad, you won't be going through all 100 floors, because they outlined it very specifically. In the original novel, the Aincrad arc ends with the 75th floor, but since Aincrad's floors each span across the surface of around 10 square kilometers, if we hypothetically decided to recreate all 100 floors, it would take us around 10 years of development to achieve it. Of course, there's no way we'd make players wait so long, so we decided to summarize the events of the first and the second floor, while an original story will unfold in the game. Some episodes from the novel will be taking place in the background, and by the way, the novel is the Sword Art Online progressive spin-off, which I've heard very strong things about. I never read it myself, but I've heard very strong things about the progressive series of novels. Talking about the original approach to the story, Futami highlights how having normal players as the protagonists of the game will give players a fresh viewpoint of the Aincrad arc. I think that's a really good idea in the sense that you're just another player character in this game and you're not center stage of the entirety of the story. I think that'll give us a unique new viewpoint for the game, and especially when it comes to their perception of Kirito throughout the story. While everybody knows Kirito is a good guy, the producer has hinted that from the perspective of the game's protagonist, he might be taking on a more villainous role in the story. We'll see how all of that actually turns out in terms of how Kirito is going to be portrayed. I would love to see something that's a little bit more of a unique take on the SAO story. I just think SAO foundationally, especially again, we're talking season 1. I know that there are people that swear by the subsequent seasons, and I kind of dropped it after Gun Gale Online. And I'm not going to lie, I actually kind of dug Gun Gale Online, but I just thought there was so much potential in exploring what Aincrad was. And the initial 3 episodes, I say it over and over again whenever I talk to somebody when we break down SAO, it's just that initial 3 episodes were so well done, and then all this nonsense with Kirito and Asuna, and then you get Alphem Online, and I'm just like, alright bro, stop this, we had something good cooking with Aincrad, and now that we have this game that I think is ultimately what a lot of people wanted out of SAO being fully realized, and again, people will be disappointed by the idea of 2 floors, but when we talk about games being big, there is that element where if they tried to get all 100 floors, and guess what? It would have happened in the anime as well. If you tried to create stories all revolving around 100 floors of Aincrad, maybe you would get it to become very diluted at a certain point, and you couldn't actually create compelling content across 100 floors. That idea in our head of having 100 floors of content, that sounds incredibly compelling, but at a certain point, less is more, and I think the idea of creating 100 floors of engaging content that's easier said than done, and if they think that they can realize a better interpretation of Aincrad with just the 2 floors now, and who knows what they're gonna do in the future as far as where they could take Echoes of Aincrad. I'm sure if this game's successful, it can open the pathway for more content and more things in the future, and you would have the idea of there would be more stuff you could do. They also spoke a little bit as far as the way Kirito is portrayed in the story, and we'll see how that's ultimately parlayed in the full game. I actually think if they have something where Kirito is taken at a different angle in this game, that could be incredibly compelling for a lot of people. I just felt like Kirito was fairly generic, and having a different perception and view of Kirito in this anime, I think it could draw in a lot of people that, like me, found SAO incredibly compelling from a foundational standpoint, but then were turned off by other aspects of the overall story. If you're already right out the gate telling us that Kirito's gonna be viewed in a different way, I think that could draw people like me in, and I know there are a lot of people that have that opinion. And look, I'm not here to completely crap on SAO as somebody that hasn't completely caught up with the show. I know that the subsequent seasons get better as far as the general opinion online, but in terms of Aincrad, I think there's a lot of potential here. I will say this, they also spoke a little bit about the character customization, and there's gonna be quite a lot of customizable options as far as that's concerned. And again, you're going to create your own character to take them through the story of Aincrad, at least the first 2 floors. You're going to have a wide variety of optional content to do as well, and it looks like a sizable amount of content even with it being only 2 floors. Bear in mind that this is also the second $70 anime tie-in video game ever. I just think that's a point that's going to get lost a little bit, but after Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, this is literally the second one ever, Echoes of Aincrad Sword Art Online. So hopefully it's going to be a game with a sizable amount of content, and bear in mind that there is going to be a deluxe edition and an ultimate edition. $90 for the deluxe edition. The ultimate edition is going to be $110, and on top of that, the deluxe edition will include the expansion DLC. So they're already starting off with expansion DLC, and if you buy the deluxe edition, you will get the death game mode early unlock. I'm kind of bummed out about that being deluxe edition exclusive. Alternatively, what you'll have to do is you'll beat the game and then you'll get the death game mode. But a big aspect of why people were drawn into the story of Aincrad and Sword Art Online in the first place was the idea of the death game. So locking it behind either buying the deluxe edition or ultimate edition or beating the game at least once, I find that to be pretty lame. Like, let's be honest, that's pretty lame. That should be available. And just game modes like that being locked to either buying a special edition or beating the game once, I think a lot of people would want to go into death game right off the rip. But nevertheless, the Ultimate Edition will also include the Ultimate Upgrade Pack, and by the way, there will be a special tie-in anime, a 120-minute tie-in anime that'll explain more of the world and story within the Echoes of Aincrad video game, and that'll be another layer to the story. Really excited to see how this turns out, man, and I played a lot of the SAO titles as well. I played Hollow Realization, I played Fatal Bullet, and I really enjoyed Fatal Bullet. And this game has been in development for quite a while. The inception and the thought of the game spawned in 2019, but it only kicked off active development in 2021. Bear in mind, you're talking about the world being shut down at that point. I know some people are critical of, oh my god, how could they not get the 100 floors out if they had 5 to 7 years of development? But they had to get the foundation of the game in place as well, the gameplay mechanics and everything like that, where they were going to take the story, because it is going to be original in a lot of instances as well. There's a lot that goes into a game, and then beyond that, if you're talking about designing 100 floors, especially 100 floors of a lot of content, yeah, could you do 100 floors and have it a lot of copy-paste and a lot of the samey level of content? Yeah, you could, but who would really be into that if it was just a lot of content for the sake of it being 100 floors? If you can tell a story within Aincrad, within 2 floors, and then also flesh it out in the future, who knows, subsequent titles, and have this be an ever-evolving IP, there's a lot of potential here, and I am excited to see how that will ultimately turn out. But that's going to do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below, your excitement level for Echoes of Aincrad. As always, thank you for watching. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. And if you want a copy of Echoes of Aincrad on PC, our friends over at Green Man Gaming do have it discounted. Just use the promotional code MAR15, that's MAR15. You'll save 15% off on every version of the game as well. That includes the Deluxe Edition and the Ultimate Edition on top of that. Want to remain cautiously optimistic, and I do think there's a lot of potential here, so hopefully it turns out well when it does drop on July the 10th. That'll do it for me. Your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.